Welcome to another episode of Roll Up a Poet. So get your blunts rolled and your drink poured. Alright? Now, let's get straight into the video.
We begin at 6 with new developments in a child abandonment case that's grabbed attention nationwide. Prosecutors say Kelly Bryant violated a court order that bans her from contacting her children or their caregiver. Thank you for joining us at 6. I'm Terrence Friday.
And I'm Meredith Bruckner. Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald is now asking a judge to revoke Bryant's communication privileges. CBS News Detroit's Gino Vici joins us live from Pontiac. Gino, you spoke to the prosecutor about her new motion request. What can you tell us?
Well, Bryant allegedly made nearly a dozen calls from jail to try to contact her children. She's barred from doing so. Obviously, now those calls are monitored from the jail. When prosecutor's office found out about it, Karen McDonald filed a motion. She now wants all of Bryant's communication privileges revoked immediately.
If you're in the Oakland County Jail and you have specific rules and provisions and orders, we expect you to follow them.
Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald is outraged after she says her office discovered Kelly Bryant, the Pontiac mother in jail for child abuse, violated a no-contact policy repeatedly.
But we have a duty when we know about something and we know that somebody's violating a no-contact order, and in this case it's a very serious crime. It's a very serious crime, and we have a duty to protect victims, and we're going to do that every time.
Oakland County Prosecutor's Office found a motion to revoke all Bryant's communication privileges after learning she violated a court order not to contact her children 10 times. Bryant is charged with 3 counts of first-degree child abuse after being accused of abandoning her 3 children for several years in this trash-filled condo in Pontiac. McDonald says Bryant not only made contact with her children's caregiver directly, Bryant is also accused of having other inmates make calls for her from the Oakland County Jail. Although it's her children she's trying to contact, McDonald says in this case they are the victims.
The evidence shows and suggests, and the allegations are very serious, which is why I'm sure you're all here. It's jarring, and my focus is on these kids, and I don't believe that can be done unless they're in a secure and stable environment free of influence or pressure from anyone else.
Now back here live, a judge could decide on this as early as tomorrow. There is a court hearing tomorrow inside an Oakland County courtroom at 2:30. Meanwhile, Bryant is in jail on a $50,000 cash bond. If convicted, she could spend the rest of her life behind bars. Guys, back to you.
All right. So, for that, right? Let me go ahead and make a point real quick, right? What I said before, when I said that, she not going to be able to have no contact with her kids no more. And a lot of people would think that maybe she don't want to deal with her kids at all. If she doing them like that, this the deal. It's called the emotional attachment. Even though the parent don't want to be a parent, the parent still have love for that child. They had the child, male or female. You know what I'm saying? No matter if they ran off to be a deadbeat and they just don't care or anything. Listen, I can guarantee you that emotional attachment that they have within inside themselves as a human, no matter how you feel about that person still has that emotional attachment in them. And they feel that for their child, regardless if they reach out or not. They gonna have that feeling. You have a child, you have some type of attachment to them. You have some type of attachment to that child. If it's your child, even though you don't want to be around or nothing, you have some type of attachment to that child. So, with that being said, as you can see, she is going back in front of a judge because she had to contact her kids somehow, some way. This is exactly what I was saying when I made the video talking about this. Even if it be 10, 20 years later, when she finally come to her senses and she gonna want to talk to her kid, she not gonna be able to do it because she is strictly prohibited from having any contact with them. And look, she ain't even been in jail long and she already trying to contact them. That's that emotional attachment that comes from within. That ain't nothing that you see out of somebody and, oh, they heartless because they do this and this. That person still had it in here. Like I said, even if they never even reach out to the child, they had it in here. They feel it. Even though they might be able to get over it and keep it moving, but they feel it as humans. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, you know, this is my daughter's phone. This is my 9-year-old. This is her phone. She still has that attachment with her mother. So when I went to grab her phone, you know, for this video, I seen that her mother had texted her. So I went through the messages to, you know, overread and see what was going on. And I'm going to just put it like this. Her mother, which is my baby mother, she missed her kids. Even though she been absent for the past 4 years, I could tell it in the messages that she missed her kids. And my daughter miss her. I could just see it in the messages that I'm reading. Like, they miss each other, you know? That's just that emotional attachment. They haven't seen each other in 4 years, going on 5 years, you know? And they still had that attachment for each other, you know? It's life, you know? So, point is about all of this, because I told you I'm going to be on this story anyway, because it need to be more women getting exposed for doing the shit that they do to these kids as well. It's not just men that's just doing wild shit. It's these women doing crazy shit too. So, since this didn't surface, I'm going to stay on it, you know. But this is the latest update. You know what I'm saying? As of right now, this is the latest update. She ain't even been in jail that long, and she already trying to contact the kids. Where she done tried to contact the kids 11, 12 times. And she know that's a strict court order that she can't do that. So what does that tell you? That emotional attachment. That emotional attachment is overriding her stipulation she got in jail. See, she is in jail. She not free, you know what I'm saying, out here walking around, could jump on somebody's cell phone, try and call the kids or nothing like that. No, she is in jail. Oakland County Jail at that, OCJ at that, right? Let me school you real quick, just in case you don't know. Know some of y'all do, some of y'all don't. But for the ones that don't, even for the ones that do know, hey, you know, chime in. Hey, that's 100, because I'm about to keep it all the way 100. How this shit work, you know what I'm saying? I told you, when you get locked up, you're just a number. You no longer Ray, John, none of that. You are a number. And it may be 4 to 6 numbers, depending on which state and prisons you at. Where I'm at, it's 6 numbers, you know. So the way how they do it is when they set up the phone for you to operate on the phone, it's not like you just walk up to a payphone, you pick it up and you just call somebody. That's in the free world. In jail, it don't work like that. Your number is being attached to a phone line. And the number, you got to make a call list, right? On the call list, you might get like 10 people you could put on your call list. So you can call 10 different numbers, right? The way how the system do it, they set those phone numbers up under your number, under your prison number, whatever phone numbers it is that you approving of. That's set up under your number. So if you try and call this number off of somebody else's phone line, it instantly red flag with the system, because that number is attached to your number. So how is it that this other prison number is calling this same number? Now, they let it go if it ain't no problems or nothing with them phone numbers and them people that is trying to be contacted. If it ain't no problem with them, they don't mind the inmates, crossing calls like that, because they know the inmates do that. You know what I'm saying? But when you got a high profile case like that, especially against your own kids, and they number one stipulation is you have no contact with them whatsoever, and here you is violating it. You not even free. You in jail violating this. So what does that tell us? Well, as you know, her name is Kelly Bryant or something like that. She left her kids in the house for 5 years straight by themselves. She wasn't taking care of them. She wasn't taking them to school. She wasn't there at the house with them. She barely was feeding them anything. Toilet was broken and stopped up. Feces everywhere. Rats and roaches running around. Bed soil. You know what I'm saying? They illiterate because they haven't been in school. They didn't miss 4 or 5 years worth of school, So not only was they traumatized by, their mama leaving them like that, they also haven't been getting no schooling in. So they mind frames is still where it was at 4 years ago. Even though they 4 or 5 years older, but they mind frame still back there 4 or 5 years ago. So guess what? The system said, peace out. You know what I'm saying? You got to do your time. Peace out. Go ahead and sit down. And now that we see this, right? Remember when I first made the video? Well, when I went live, the first time I went live, then I did a video, right? I went live about it. That judge that arraigned her set her bond at $250 million cash. Then came back with the part 2, where they had this court date out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And they drastically reduced her bond from $250 million cash to $50,000 cash. So, I had to jump on that, I'm like, it was because the judge was just flexing her muscle. That was too much time. I mean, that was too much money. That bond was just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of was like, yeah, I see, what they did. The system probably corrected themselves, because that bond was outrageous. But then, you turn around and you do this. Right after the system just corrected themselves for you. They looked out for you. Because they could have said, fuck it, keep her buying that $250 million. Fuck her. Nah, they went and corrected themselves and gave you a shot back at your own freedom. Because now 50K is in distance. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody don't got no 50K. You know what I'm saying? But if it's really that serious, somebody can get to 50K before they can get to $250 million. You know what I'm saying? So now you in field goal range to go to the crib. They did you a solid. And they number one stipulation with you is you can't have no contact with these kids. we'll let you go. You could go home, be on house arrest, shit like that, you know. But you don't have to sit in the cell, at least until you get sentenced. You know what I'm saying? You can go home. Nah, you don't want to go home because you in jail violating the court stipulation, which is what's against these kids. Just like they said in the video I just showed, they was monitoring the cars. And that's what she was doing. She had, you know, somebody she was in prison with, she was using their prison number, you know, to make the calls. Because she can't make the calls off her prison number because her prison number is blocked, you know, from their number. So she had to use one of the inmates in there she knew. She had to use their number to call, you know, them people. But again, that phone number is attached to the girl's Kelly prison number. It's attached to her. So anytime that number get dialed off of anybody else's prison number, it don't matter if that person just came in today. If she called them kids off of your phone while you in jail off of your prison number, it's gonna come back. It's a high profile case. They know that number. So when that number get dialed in their system, they know that number. And on top of it, they monitoring the whole phone call. You know what I'm saying? So now when you go to court, guess what they gonna do? They gonna play that call. They're like, yeah, this is her. Guess what they gonna do? Now they gonna revoke your bond. Now you ain't gonna have no bond. Now you ain't going home at all. You can't even contain yourself with a bond that you have right now that's reachable. You can't even contain yourself now. You know what I'm saying? Somebody probably would have felt bad for you and probably would have, you know, came up with that 50 and got you out, or, you know, put up something to get you out or something. Now your bond gonna be revoked. I'm telling y'all this now before she go to court and they smoke her, because I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do a video on that too. Like, I already know they about to revoke her bond. Or if they don't revoke it, her bond gonna go through the roof. They gonna make sure she don't get out. That's the point. So now at this point in time, now she making that first judge that arraigned her look good now. Now it's like the system looking like, okay, we see why you set her bond at $250 million. Instead of looking at it as just a hatred crime. Now that she does this and get caught 12 times calling that number, got caught. That's your whole case, is against these kids. You think you about to be calling them while you in jail. You couldn't even get out and use somebody's phone and call them. You calling them from the jail phone. That's how we know you a rookie. Because everybody in jail know, if you got a high profile case, you cannot call that number. No, off of nobody prison number. You cannot call that number. That number is done. That number is on a list. You know what I'm saying? It was a crime against this person. Something crazy. You know what I'm saying? Against this person. That number is red flag. No matter who prison number you dial on that phone pad before you get to make that call. It don't matter who prison number you dial. That number is a part of a high profile case. You cannot call that number off of nobody's prison number. It don't matter who they is. You can't call that number. It's a red flag. So they've been building this case on her. So now when they go to court, they're going to play all them recordings. And then ain't going to be nothing she could do. And that judge going to be like, damn, I tried to be cool and gave you a $50,000 bond. Well, now you making the system look bad. Wow. $500,000 bond. Wow. $1 million bond. Wow. No bond. It's gonna get ugly, man. And if it don't, just to say, if they don't hike her bond or none of that, this would just be more proof that women got an upper hand in the court system. Because if it was a man, smoked. We know that. You know what I'm saying? So, just to say, like, if they don't do nothing about her bond or nothing, just showing that women win the upper hand in court. You know? But my personal opinion, I believe they about to smoke her ass. They about to revoke her bond. She not gonna have a bond. She gonna have to remain in jail until they sentence her. That's my opinion. Because she done got caught for this 12 times already. You know what I'm saying? Not once or twice, 12. You know what I'm saying? You just straight calling this number. You know what I'm saying? And they on the phone listening. So they got everything you said. You can't try nothing. You're done. You don't got no fight. You gonna win it. Damn, you gonna lose this case easily. You know what I'm saying? They gonna smoke this shit out you. And now that they got these, recordings, ain't looking good, buddy. So, when they come back with the update on her court date, I'm gonna go ahead and drop another one, I'm gonna follow this one because she need to get the rest of the time she got alive behind the bars, because that ain't right. It's been another episode of Roll Up a Power Up. So get your blunts rolled and your drink pulled.